Patrick Stewart will lead things off for the East Hants Mastodons, followed by Aaron Harvey, and then back to the shop for Jay Duffy. You know you're doing something right when you get your leadoff batter coming up again in the second inning, and that ball is mishandled out there by Jeff Evely trying to come across to make the play, and got to be an E6 in my book, Lance.
Well, yeah, considering Evely was outstanding, he got the first two balls of the game and gobbled them both up and recorded the outs, but not able to get the handle on that one.
And this isn't what Kelly's Pub wanted to do. They just got one run back out of the four that they gave up in the first, and right away an error puts a base runner aboard. Aaron Harvey has been struggling a bit here at the plate this week.
So does he lay it down in this situation knowing that another run will nullify that run that they gave up?
With your 9 batter and the way he's been struggling, I would have the bunt on here, but he's taking all the way. 0-2 on Aaron. And again, the situational rule applies. That wouldn't have been automatic with a couple of other teams, but just given the way that Aaron's been struggling this week, get him out in front of the ball, let him have a good look at it.
Well, that's what I mean, because your philosophy before was you're not going to bunt early. You let him swing away early, but...
No, but here's a guy who's struggling, right? So for that reason, as this one is poked through the 5.5 hole, takes a big hop over the lip and bounds out to the left fielder, Eddie Hefferon, who will run it back in. And your 8 and 9 batters are both aboard, and you're back to the top of the shop. And this has the makings of potentially another good inning for the East Hants Mastodons.
Well, you'd figure, but when you look at the first inning, they grounded out 2 ground balls to start to lead off the game, and then decided they were going to rally for 4 runs after that. So maybe they're better with 2-out rallies, but either
There's
way.
the bunt. It's a high hopper. Duffy does a good job. The throw pulls him off the bag as Daniel Dalton had to go up to get that throw. Patrick Stewart did a good job to get it on the high hop, but then pulled Dalton off the bag.
That's
or not Patrick Stewart, rather Brian Clark. Apologies.
Unfortunate, because I don't think the throw was that high. I think what happened is Stewart mistimed a jump, and it's unfortunate that was the case.
So the Mastodons will load the bases, and a meeting on the mound. Bit of a pep talk for the Bulldogs. So where are you giving the error in your mind?
Well, in my mind, it's hard
E3?
to say footwork, but I gotta say that if he times his jump right, then that's an out. So
on the fielding play by Dalton.
Yeah, I would give the error to Dalton personally, and that's only because he had to go up to get it, but he mistimed his jump, and that's why I think he was off the bag. Now, I don't know how you score that, or if you got to give the E to the guy.
I think you got to give the E to the guy who threw it, who caused him to have to go up in the air in the first place, would be the way I would look at that. Regardless, it's an error on the play. Tyler Wynot is at the plate. He wants time as he's batting in a bases loaded, nobody out situation. And you talk about potential plays of the game that can decide something. We're getting to this one particularly early as a big hit here. And it could be over early for the Mastodons to jump out in front of the Bulldogs. As a chopper, that's just going to go foul down the left side. And I don't know what they sprinkled on the diamond in between the games, but it certainly attracted a flock of pigeons out there, and not a single care is given about the ball game going on around them.
Well, I'm not going to go into city pigeons and East Coast pigeons, but I've never seen birds make themselves quite that comfortable during a game before.
Upstairs, and Kyle Linton continues to struggle to find the strike zone, and some days you have it and some days you don't, but you can just see the birds in behind Daniel Dalton. Now they're right in behind second base, making their way in behind Evely at short now. And this one is lifted out to deep left, trailing to the track. That would have been a grand slam, but he's going to get a sac fly RBI out of it here. Most days, that's a grand slam. Tyler Wynot gave it a ride. Patrick Stewart will come in to score an unearned run as he had reached on an error. Harvey and Duffy both move up on the play as well. So give Tyler Wynot a sac fly RBI.
Good base running there by both Harvey and Duffy to advance on the play and watch the throw and be able to tag up.
So now 5-1 for East Hants Mastodons out in front of Kelly's Pub from St. John's, Newfoundland, and that's the second visit here. Still doesn't have to take the ball, but he will this time out. And it is going to be the veteran lefty, I believe, for the Kelly's Pub squad, Don King. So we'll take a break as Donnie King will come in to take his warm-up pitches. Stay with us. We'll be back here on Ballpark Broadcasting. Nick Shales, right man, right place, as the East Hants Mastodons look to continue their onslaught here. They've got this 5-1 lead going against the Kelly's Pub Bulldogs. And Shales just lifts the first pitch up and over the shortstop. 1 run in, 2 standing up. And add a couple of RBIs to Nick Shales' total. Close the book now on Kyle Linton. 7 runs allowed. Not all of them earned, but just didn't have it today. And lasting only an inning and a third.
Third base, number 9.
Well, like you said, Blair, sometimes you have it and sometimes you just don't, and that was the case for Kyle Linton, unfortunately, for Kelly's Pub.
So Shales, the base runner, out at first base. Donnie King, veteran lefty here in the St. John's League. He's pitched in a couple of national tournaments, picked up a big win over the Toronto Gators in the Hill United Invitational earlier this year as Joel Eisner launches this one to the gap in center right. Shales will come around and score easily as the throw just now getting back to the infield. And there's no stopping the Mastodons here today. They are on a rampage.
No, Eisner got something over the plate, and he made no mistake there. And maybe it was because of the wind, but that ball was on a line and on a rope out there, right center gap.
So now 8-1 for the Mastodons as we'll get our scoreboard caught up to the actual one. And no stopping these guys from Nova Scotia right now. They want to try and lock in that number 2 seed. And the peril for the Kelly's Pub Bulldogs is they play the Kitchener-Hallman Cubs later this evening. And a loss in that game, they could fall from the potential 2 seed all the way to 4 or even worse, depending on tiebreakers.
And that is a little bit of a different scenario than they had coming into this ball game here now.
Well, here's the math on that. If you're the 4 seed in the double life section, you're going to be playing the Galway Hitmen in the first playoff game. You didn't want to play that team right out of the chute in the playoffs. There's a called strike. Donnie Archibald walked and scored in the first. And that one misses upstairs from Donnie King.
Leading off for the Indians at the top of the first inning, the second baseman, Tyler Baldwin, number 7.
So the first 2 pitches from Donnie King went single-double. And at least Archibald here sees a couple, but he works a walk. And still no relief in sight here for the Kelly's Pub Bulldogs. Perhaps the wrong time to have your clunker in the tournament.
Well, and as you say that, it looks like there's a couple guys up the Mastodon side as they are going to get someone working, and there is someone working in the bullpen down there for Kelly's Pub.
Liam Myers has gone down to throw. It looks like he's just working overhand. Kyle Crawford has just gone down to stay warm for the Mastodons in between innings here. It's yet another long one for his team at the plate. So rather than cool down in the dugout, Kyle Crawford will continue to throw a little bit on the side while his team continues to pile up the runs. Liam Myers, who does throw locally in the St. John's League, I'm not sure that the Kelly's Pub Bulldogs expected to press him into duty in this game. Well, Liam has been the personal nemesis of Jason Hill over the years. Jonah Wright, here's a ground ball to the shortstop, and they're going to call interference on Joel Eisner as he clipped Jeff Evely on the way by. So Eisner will reluctantly leave third base and go back to the dugout for the Mastodons. But that is a play that you see Brent Thompson will run that play to perfection from Brent is here this week with the First Ontario Alvinston Indians. But he runs that play to perfection where you come in and you get clipped by the runner. And Eisner is now going to go back to third as we have a conference. And he is indeed still out. You can turn around and go back to the dugout completely this time.
Well, you know you can't touch the defensive play.
Not at all.
And as soon as you do, you have to figure the call's going to be made.
So runner interference. Archibald is at second base. Jonah Wright, who was the batter through all of that, is at first. And this one goes off the glove of Kirk. Can't find it. But Archibald and Wright just content to move up 60 feet each. So for Jonah Wright, he gets a fielder's choice getting to first base. I believe, at least anyway. I stand to be corrected by one of the baseball statisticians out there, but I believe that's a fielder's choice for him. Jason Sanford at the plate. Jason had a 2 RBI single in his last trip. Upstairs from Don King.
I think the Mastodons had best keep the foot and the pedal to the metal and continue to try and rack up as many runs as possible.
Oh, without a doubt. 4 in the first, 4 here in the second so far. Only 1 out in the inning, and that really by happenstance.
And a veteran hitter up here, so a lot of work to be done for Kelly's Pub.
Called strike on the inside corner, and a good pitch there from Don King. Didn't just groove it and leave it out over the plate for Jason Sanford. It was on the inside corner and was tailing in to the right-handed hitting catcher from East Hants. And here's a chopper on the infield. That's going to go off the glove. When it rains, it pours for Jeff Evely. They got him off third base now as Jonah Wright got caught rounding the corner. And we've got a good old-fashioned run down, and they got him just at the plate. Just at the plate on the swipe tag. Yeah, he got you, Jonah, but not by much.
Absolutely. A good job there. Not your conventional play there, but I think effective nonetheless. And they didn't allow another run to come in, I don't believe. Or I think one may have come in on that play, Blair. You can certainly correct.
Well, Donnelly Archibald scored on the play. So it's 9-1. Where did they get...
I would believe.
Who else did they get out? They got Wright out in the rundown. Did they get Sanford out somewhere?
No.
Did they get a force play at second?
No, there's 2 out.
There's only 2 out. Why did everybody leave? This is what I'm puzzled about. Why? I've only got 2 out in my book.
Well, no, because I'm looking here at Tyler Wynot sack fly.
Oh, and the runner's interference. Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's
You're right.
Where
Thank you.
I would see that. And so Sanford.
So Sanford gets a fielder's choice and an RBI.
Right.
And then Wright is out on the rundown.
Correct.
Okay. We talked ourselves through that. 9-1 is the score, and we're going to head to the home half of the second inning. This one's got it all. We've only played an inning and a half. Stay with us. So just the bottom of the second inning, and this game has already seen just about everything the game has got to offer, Lance. We're only missing a home run.
Certainly hasn't been a dull moment here in an inning and a half.
Jeff Evely will lead things off, and Jeff, who made 2 fine plays in the first inning, kind of struggled there defensively for Kelly's Pub and whiffs at that changeup from Kyle Crawford, and that's a pitch that Crawford has developed and really looks good with right now.
Well, a good pitch from Crawford, but if you take a look at Evely, deep in the box, choked way up on the bat, not going to get a whole lot of contact when you've limited your plate coverage to very little.
Goes down swinging at that rise ball in the eyes, and that'll bring up the designated player, Steven Gesso.
Well, if ever Kyle Crawford could use a 1-2-3 inning, this would be it. Get his team back up there, retain the momentum that they've already got.
Oh, they probably can't wait to get back up to the plate. Everything going their way on offense right now. There's a called strike on the outside corner.
Well, you get that, and also with with an 8-run cushion now, Kyle Crawford can sort of sit back and not worry about being perfect and just working around the zone.
Yeah, he can and should be, at least anyway, attacking the batters, not having to worry about nibbling and being too fine. Let your defense help you out. You don't have to go out there and strike everybody out. Good rise ball in the outside corner. Mark Lewis awaits on deck. And this one is poked out over the head of Shales, and that's going to be a multi-hopper on out to Tyler Wynot in left field.
Good piece of hitting from Gesso. Didn't try to do too much with that pitch. Just enough to get it out into the outfield and find himself with a base hit.
Mark Lewis has struggled a little bit here this week. Strikeouts mounting a little bit, and that's not quite what you expect from Mark. A swing and a miss there. Change up and bends that in. That had a hook on it. You could see the hook coming all the way from our vantage point. Froze Mark Lewis.
Good pitch from Kyle Crawford.
Upstairs. That's a good waist pitch too. Backs Mark off the plate a little bit. This is as good as I've seen Kyle Crawford throw all year. That misses just off the outside corner. And misses again. So maybe you'd like to see him attacking the strike zone just a little bit more here to Mark Lewis. 3-2, a full count. 1 out in here in the inning. Steven Gesso aboard on a single. And Lewis, a one-hopper. There's one. And back to first. They just don't get him.
Very close. It was a good relay throw from Nicky Shales, standing on second base, but not able to double up Mark Lewis. Good speed going down the line.
Yeah, good turn there by Aaron Harvey off to, I think it was Duffy actually, and then just didn't get Lewis. You're right, just missed getting him down the line. So the 9-batter, Eddie Heffernan, and we were really impressed with Eddie's game the other night. He had a couple of doubles and a triple. Great speed. If this guy gets it on the ground, look out at first base because he will be very tough to get. Unless it's right hit hard at somebody, he's likely to beat it out. Swing and a miss there. Chases upstairs. Ground ball. Shale's going to have a hard time to get him. He does with a good strong throw. And that's it for Kelly's Pub. They get a couple of base runners, but erased on some good defense by the East Hants Mastodons. Through 2 innings complete, it's East Hants 9, Kelly's Pub 1. So just as he did in inning before, Patrick Stewart will lead off for the East Hants Mastodons. And this one well hit to left, back to the track, to the almost at the fence, and hauled in by Eddie Heffernan.
Good play for Heffernan. Had to go a long way to track that ball down and got right to the spot where it was going to land and handled it nicely.
Well, that's about the play. That's about the first thing that's gone right for Kelly's Pub Bulldogs all afternoon. Aaron Harvey, the 9 batter, and this is a little flare into short left, and coming on to make that catch is Eddie Heffernan as well. And if Donnie King can groove one here, we can tie a record. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Let's get another fly ball to Eddie just for grins here. Get him involved as well.
Had a little of everything else, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Jay Duffy at the plate, the leadoff batter. 3rd inning, 3rd plate appearance for Jay. 46-footer from Donnie King. Long look in from the veteran. And pours in a strike. 1-1. Galveston Indians and Bullier Rustlers activity on Diamond 2. That game could have some potential for playoff positioning as well. Bullier with a big win this morning that Lance, you and I covered. Seems like a lifetime ago, but it was only about 4 hours. Maybe 5.
Yeah, I mean...
Chopper, Donnie King drops the glove on it and has an 3 up, 3 down inning for his Kelly's Pub Bulldogs. Will get them back on the sticks. Just what the doctor ordered, a quick inning and an opportunity to try and chip away and get back into this one. Stay with us. We'll head to the top of the 3rd.
Should be doing.
Colin Walsh, first pitch swinging and right into the glove of Nick Shales. That little pop-up, and
now batting for his Bulldogs.
Colin Walsh unable to get on track here in this one. Daniel Dalton will come to the plate. Daniel Dalton hit a soft line drive in the direction of Nick Shales last time out. Lance, we just heard that Jeff Evely is going to get replaced at shortstop. We will pick up the name of that person in a minute, as this one is lifted foul and out of play.
Well, I'm not sure if Evely's maybe dealing with some sort of injury, or if, fatigue may be a factor, or what's going on there. But
Tony Meade will be going into shortstop for Kelly's Pub when the inning rolls over. Here's a 2-hopper to Nick Shales on the backhand, up and over to first for the 2nd out of the inning.
Once again, Nick Shales making that 4-hopper look easy. Took it on the backhand. Had time probably to swing around and take it forward, but confident enough to make it look easy.
Matthew Waugh tripled and scored the only run of the game for Kelly's Pub in the first. And no matter how good you are, Lance, you cannot hit an 8-run home run. You can hit one to the gap. An attempted diving catch, and no, I did not think that he got that. Matthew Waugh will come into second base, and we've got a safe signal from the third base umpire, and we're going to have a conference and talk about this here. I'm pretty sure I saw a ball. I did not see a catch out of that.
As far as from my vantage point, which is very similar to yours, I saw a trap. And so great acting job on using the grass in your glove to sort of scoop it up and in and hold it up. But I think it hit the ground first.
I think we both have that call, and they do indeed say safe. Tyler, why not trying to sell it as a spectacular Kevin Pillar-like catch, but nobody buying that one right now. Good effort.
Which is what I would agree with. A very good effort, but I would have to give Matty Waugh a double on that.
So Ryan Kirk, another RBI opportunity. These two combined to score a run back in the first, the only run for the Bulldogs, and now time called as Nick Shales wants a word with Kyle Crawford, and not sure what that was all about, but Nick saw something that he didn't like.
Now batting the designated player, number 10, Michael Ruth.
Change up from Crawford. Upstairs, ball 2. And here's a little cue shot as that took a hard left turn on its way out to second baseman Jay Duffy. And that will be it for the Kelly's Bulldogs. Matthew Waugh, a double, is stranded at second base. We're going to go to the top of the fourth inning now, and the East Hants Mastodons continue to hold this 9-1 lead.
We'll go with M-E-E-D.
DP Jesso is on the third base.
Tyler, why not to lead things off against Donnie King here in the top of the fourth inning? Some defensive changes for Kelly's Pub Bulldogs. Steven Jesso, the designated player, swaps with Mark Lewis. He goes into third base. Tony Mead is in at short, and out in right field is Andrew Wade as Kelly's Pub empties the bench a little bit here, trailing 9-1, an opportunity to get some players some at-bats. Why not? Choked up just about half an inch on the bottom of that bat. And this one is well hit to center. Coming across is Matthew Waugh. The wrong guy to hit that one to on a line in center field, Lance.
Oh, for sure. Good piece of hitting, but Matty Waugh, with his speed, covers a lot of ground and has some good range out there in center. Doesn't always play in center, usually in right or left, but definitely the speed to hold his own up the middle.
Nick Shales, a single. Make it 2 singles, a couple RBIs, a stolen base, 2 runs scored. Just another day at the office for Nick Shales.
Well, it's kind of what we would expect from Nick Shales, too, of course.
Yeah, you talk about the best players in the game, Nick Shales, Bradley Ezekiel, maybe Ben Anoka in those conversations, but certainly it's going to revolve around Nick Shales. Hard hit ball, Donnie King. Look what I found in the glove and the flip over to first.
Well, that and some self-defense for sure, because that was a hard two-hopper right back at him, and you got to give him some credit there because he used the reflexes and
got the glove on it. Joel Eisner having a good day too here. A single, a double, couple of RBIs. Did get called out on runner's interference, but that's just a minor setback here at this point with a 9-1 lead.
Yeah, could probably forgive him for that. I'm sure his teammates have.
Drilled down to third. Gesso on the hop, and he makes short work of the East Hants Mastodons here. Donnie King has shut the door the last 2 innings. 3 up, 3 down, 6 up, 6 down in the third and the fourth. Kelly's Pub coming to the plate in the bottom. Stay with us here at Ballpark Broadcasting. Kelly's Pub continuing to empty the bench, trailing 9-1. Gary Bruce will come to the plate for the Bulldogs. First pitch swinging, and a little bit of off-speed rise ball from Kyle Crawford, who's done a great job here this afternoon, mixing and matching speeds and deploying curveball. Hard hit ball, but right at Nick Shales. Again, that's the wrong guy to hit the ball in the general direction of.
Well, you got that right. And again, once again, Nicky Shales making a hard hit ball look very easy and routine, and that's just what good players do.
So Tony Meade, who went into the game for Jeff Evely, will get his first look at Kyle Crawford. East Hants Mastodons 4 in the first, 5 in the second to pile up these 9 runs. This one is lifted up on the infield. Calling for it over there at first base is Patrick Stewart. And he'll put that in his back pocket for the second out of the inning.
Here's both these two pitchers have settled down just a bit. Kyle Crawford, of course, riding the wave when you got an 8-run lead. Again, you've got some leeway and some cushion to work with, and he's just up there throwing strikes and working the corners.
Steven Gesso, who started the game as the DP, now over at third base. Looks at ball one off the outside corner. And here's a little flare. Even Nick Shales won't be able to get to that one as it falls in front of center fielder Joel Eisner.
Second hit of the ball game for Gesso.
12, the right fielder, Andrew Wade.
And another pinch hitter for Kelly's Pub as Andrew Wade. He's now in right field, but he's gone into the lineup in Mark Lewis's spot. There's a strike.
Third baseman, number 26.
I think he was surprised Crawford started him off with a changeup.
And the rise ball swings right underneath that for strike two.
So he's fed him the change and gone with the rise.
A little higher, a little harder. No, it's the drop ball in the inside corner and fouled off.
Certainly mixing it up, that's for sure.
Well, he and Jason Sanford have been simpatico all game long. And again, we talked about that off the top. Kyle Crawford pitching to Ryan Boland and now Jason Sanford this year. Certainly benefiting, getting the strikeout there. 4 up, 3 down inning. Pretty quick nonetheless as Kelly's Pub go down in the bottom of the fourth. We'll head to the top of the fifth. And we'll see if the Mastodons can do anything more about this 9-1 lead that they're currently enjoying. Stay with us here at Ballpark Broadcasting. Pinch hitter for the East Hants Mastodons. First pitch swinging before we can even get the name out. It's Jacob Hopewell, and he grounds out 4-3 as Daniel Dalton makes that play.
Well, clearly no worry about taking a few pitches and seeing
what's going on.
King's got his first pitch swing and you're up there. And I think if you're the Mastodons anyway, you know you're in cruise control mode right now, and you figure you just want to get up there and then get 3 quick outs and get yourself back in someplace warm.
Well, everybody is emptying the bench as Andy Chase is now in to hit for Jonah Wright, and he at least takes a pitch so we can get his name off the lineup card and into the scorebook. And he's hacking away on the second pitch. Fouls that out of play.
Now batting the second baseman, number 7, Tyler Hawley.
Good changeup there from Donnie King, and that's an effective pitch in his repertoire. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mr. Chase.
Not a whole lot you can say about Don King. He's come in and done a very admirable job.
Delayed strike 3 call, framed up pretty good there by Ryan Kirk, and Andy Chase is left to look back at home plate and wonder who called it for strike 3.
Well, not sure. I mean, I think we had a couple of birthdays up here by the time that call was made, but my goodness, just a tad bit late.
So the pinch hitting parade continues. Cody Anthony steps in for Jason Sanford. He goes after the first pitch and flares that off the glove of Tony Mead, as the shortstop position for Kelly's Pub today continues to be a defensive black hole.
Now at bat for East Hants, the first baseman, number 10.
Well, that's kind of a tough play, though. I'm not sure they would have got him anyway, but clearly when you refer to a black hole, I am going to have to saddle him with an E6.
I think E6 for sure. Off the glove. That's just been a tough play out there. I mean, Jeff Evely made a couple of nice plays and then had a couple of clunkers that I'm sure he would like back, and I'm pretty sure that Tony Mead would like another effort at that one. Patrick Stewart gets to hit in his spot, his own spot. Cody Anthony is still out at first base.
We got to figure if there's even an outside sort of Moses parting of the Red Sea miracle that occurs here, you have to figure that Kelly's Pub can't give up any more. And fortunately, Don King has come in and kept these Mastodon hitters off balance somewhat.
Well, we saw it a little bit in the preceding game where a guy who doesn't have the blazing speed off the mound can keep some good hitters at bay as everybody is up there wailing away. But, of course, this one was out of hand by the time that Don King came in, and he loses Patrick Stewart there to a walk. So a couple of runners aboard.
Now batting for
Well, and we've seen it throughout our years of covering this game and playing this game. A lot of times, teams that are used to hitting good, hard, fast pitchers struggle against guys that don't have the velocity and, tend to work the change and so on.
Aaron Harvey, first pitch swinging, and this one is tailing away towards the right fielder, actually. It is Andrew Wade who tracks that one down. Matthew Waugh was going a long, long way over towards right field, but Andrew Wade comes up with the catch to make the third out of the inning. 3 outs to get for the Mastodons if they're going to wrap this one up early. Stay with us to see if they can do it. Liam Myers will be the latest pinch hitter in the continued ongoing emptying of the benches. We saw Liam warming up down the left field line at one point, but it was Don King who ended up coming into the game. Saw Liam pitch a little bit in the Hill United Invitational Tournament back in June and was told that he's been the personal nemesis of Jason Hill in the St. John's League.
Well, you never know when that matchup may rear its head again here at the Canadians.
Well, it's entirely possible that could happen tomorrow night in one of the Page playoff games. Stay tuned as we will bring you all of that action here on Ballpark Broadcasting and Sports Canada TV over the next 2 days as we will crown a Canadian champion here on Sunday evening. So Myers batting for Heffernan. And has chased a couple of rise balls up in the zone.
Now batting the shortstop, number 9, Brent Thompson.
And a little higher, not quite as hard, off the plate. And strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Mr. Myers.
Wasting any time, and that's what you should do with a pinch hitter. And I say a pinch hitter, someone who really is legitimately coming off the bench, is you go right at him as a pitcher, and you don't have to waste too many, as it's going to take that hitter a little bit of time to get in game and get loose.
Crawford bends a little curveball in on the inside corner for a called strike on Colin Walsh. Over on the other diamond, the Alvinston Indians are up 5-2 in the top of the third over the Bullier Rustlers. Here's a hard one hopper, picked up by Shales, the gun to first, and they get Colin Walsh. Nick Shales putting on a fielding clinic over there at shortstop today.
Well, he really has a good plant foot and a quick release, and that's what Nicky Shales has working in his favor. Not talking about the hands to smother that ball, but the fact that it's in and out of his hand in a fraction of a second.
Alvinston still in the double life hunt. They will play the East Hants Mastodons here at 8 o'clock tonight. That's a Diamond 1 game or Diamond 2? That's over on Diamond 2. So a couple of good games coming up this evening that will have some playoff implications. Kelly's Pub and on Kitchener Cubs here on Diamond 1. And Alvinston Indians and East Hants Mastodons over on Diamond 2. That's going to resolve all of the seeding by the end of the night. Swing and a foul off. That went off the pad and came all the way out to the pitcher's mound. Daniel Dalton, last gasp here for Kelly's Pub. I guess you could say last call at Kelly's Pub.
Yeah, you could.
Upstairs. And a change-up, and this is lifted out to the left. Coming across, Tyler Wynot's not going to be able to get there. That's going to fall right on the line. And into second base with a stand-up double goes Daniel Dalton.
So a little bit of life shown there from Kelly's Pub, as they've got a runner in scoring position with 2 away here.
Matthew Waugh, 2 for 2 with a double and a triple, a run scored. Matthew Waugh will do what he always does, measure out from the corner of the plate where he wants his back foot. Takes one right down George Street for strike 1.
Now batting the third baseman, number 9, George.
And this one skips in, and up to third base goes Dalton. So not quite done yet are the Kelly's Pub Bulldogs. Standing on deck is Ryan Kirk. He'll hope to get an opportunity to swing the stick one more time here this afternoon. The wind, Lance, looks like it's blowing straight in from center field. And it is a cool eastern breeze coming in off the Atlantic. And a little, check swing. Kyle Crawford picks it up and over to first base for the last out. Matthew Waugh is going to ask and say, the ball went off of me, but why were you running to first, Matthew, if it went off of you? East Hants Mastodons are going to come out in the field and get ready to shake hands. The Blue Crew are going to go ask, but I've always said the best thing to do is, actually they're not even going to ask, they're just going to leave the field, is to go by the player reaction. If he's running to first, it didn't go off of him. So the Mastodons trample Kelly's Pub 9-1 in a run rule shortened game, and Lance, they certainly came loaded for bear.
They sure did, and you talk about an offensive output. 4 runs in the first, 5 in the second, and then they just put it in cruise control, and it's going to make for a very interesting matchup tonight when the Mastodons have to take on the Alveston Indians.
So a couple of good games will be coming up, and we'll decide some pool positions as we'll get set for the playoff hunt. A couple of good games to come, though. Stay with us here on Ballpark Broadcasting. For Lance Wynn, I'm Blair Setford. Have a good afternoon.